If that's the case, if you're working on a problem where they're not all integer values, the first thing that you can do, or there's a couple different ways that you can approach this. Probably the easiest thing to do is to go ahead and label the ratio that you see. Based on the information provided here, we have an angle, we have an opposite, and we have an adjacent. So which trig ratio relates opposite and adjacent? TOA, the tangent, right? So my tangent's going to be 9 over 13. Since it has a preview here, it will give me the decimal equivalent. So even though it asks for decimals, I'm going to go ahead and just answer as an exact answer here. And once I know my tangent, I can also find my reciprocal function. The cotangent's going to be 13 over 9. So that would be my first step. Then the next step that you would do is you need to find what the missing piece of information is for your right triangle. So if I know the two legs, what can I use to find the hypotenuse? Yep, so I could say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I can use Pythagorean theorem. I get 81 plus 169 equals r squared. Combine those, giving me 250 equals r squared. And when I'm looking to extract the square root here, 250 is 25 times 10. The square root of 25 comes out as a 5. The root 10 stays as it is. So this is my hypotenuse. And so now when I write my other trig ratios, my cosine is here. Cosine is adjacent. So 13 over the hypotenuse, 5 root 10. If you are going to write it this way and enter this completely, make sure you put your entire denominator in parentheses. Okay. If it tells you you need to reduce your value, or if you need to rationalize so that you need to write it in the fully reduced rational form, what you might have to do if you took 13 divided by 5 root 10 and rationalized, you'd have to multiply by root 10 over root 10, giving you 13 root 10 all over 5 times 10 or 50. Okay, so it might need to be written in this form, but if it's a calculation, this form is acceptable. Okay, and then once you have the cosine written in this form, you can find its reciprocal ratio, which is secant, again starting with the different letter. And the numerator would be 5 root 10 divided by the denominator would now be 13. And do the same thing for the last pair, the sine and its reciprocal. Sine is opposite, which is 9, over hypotenuse, which is 5 root 10. And then the reciprocal of sine is cosecant, so 5 root 10 over